We've built them, painted them, and now we find out just how much difference all the gear makes. Welcome back to the Spitfire comparison series, where we are building one using only what comes in the box, and the other using my arsenal of modelling gear. Now we're on to the final hurdle, the decals and details, with an almost catastrophic mishap along the way. So, how much difference does all the gear actually make? Well, let's find out. First point of call is the decals, and we are going to work on the starter kit Spitfire first, applying them just how Airfix intended. I will have a little help from some cotton buds and a jar of warm water. First step is to cut out the decal and soak it in the warm water. After a few minutes, I'll remove the decal from the water and apply it to the plane. I then use a cotton bud to soak up the excess water and press the decal in place. And that's it. That's the whole process of applying the starter kit decals. Very simple, just needs to be repeated with all the other decals now. What I will say about them is they go onto the model really quite easily, and considering I'm not using any decal solution, they sit on the panels really nicely. However, they don't actually ever feel like they're stuck down. They almost feel like a really thin low-tack sticker for some reason. I keep cooking though and apply all the decals to the model. And there we go. Not too shabby. Now it's time for the pro modelling approach. This first involves applying a coat of clear gloss all over the areas the decals will be applied. Normally this would help the decals sit flat on the surface and reduce silvering, but in my honest opinion with these decals, it wasn't really required. I let the clear coat fully cure for an hour or so before moving on to the next stage. In normal circumstances, decal solution is your best friend when it comes to this process, and I'm going to be using Microset and Microsol. With the gloss dried, I carefully cut out the decal and soak it in water. Clamping it in reverse action tweezers does make this a hell of a lot easier. In the meantime, I coat the area in the Microset. Then I remove the decal, dab it on some kitchen roll to soak up any excess water, then carefully apply it in position. I use the tweezers to adjust it slightly, then use a cotton bud to soak up the rest of the water and press it into position. Now we bring in the Microsol. This will soften the decal slightly and let it form and into any moulded details. I let it sit for a couple of minutes, then come in with a damp cotton bud and press it into all the details. A damp cotton bud stops it from sticking to the surface. I then use an old airbrush needle to carefully press it into the panel lines. The process with the Microsol can be repeated until the decal sits perfectly with all the moulded details showing through. And that's the whole decal process done. Now it's just time to repeat it across the entire plane. I'm not going to lie to you, this process didn't really make a whole lot of difference with these decals. I don't really know why, they almost act differently to normal ones. And again, they never really felt like they were stuck on properly, which would come back to bite me in the arse later. But with all that said, they are perfect for beginners. They slide into place really easily, and they sit very flat without rising. They fulfill their brief perfectly. I do wonder if they're made differently to normal decals to make them easier to fit, but never really feel like they're stuck on properly. The final stage is to lay down a coat of satin varnish. This will protect the decal and get rid of that unnatural shine. And that's the decals done, and both of them are looking pretty good. Still surprised at how easy they are to fit, even without the modelling supplies. Next is time for some details, starting on the starter kit Spitfire. Propeller blades are painted in the black, followed by the tyres. The landing gear struts are painted in the grey. Then I paint the exhaust and the tail wheel, again in the black. It's pretty simple stuff, and it's looking a lot more complete now. Now let's add some details to the Pro Tools Spitfire, and I decided to add the yellow identification markers to the front side of the wings. This involved masking off the area, using both vinyl tape and masking tape. Once masked up, I airbrushed the areas in the yellow. This is quite a tricky finish to spray over dark areas and requires multiple light coats to build up the finish, being careful not to make the paint run. Next, I decided to paint on the red dust tape that would cover the gun ports, and this is where things start to go pear-shaped. You will see shortly that I used way too much paint, so it bled under the tape, but I wasn't to know this just yet. Now I unwrap the masking, and this is where things go from bad to worse. If you saw the previous episode where I talk about how sticky my wide tape was and how I need to stick it to the board before using it on the model, well, I forgot this step, which in turn caused it to peel the decal off the underside. It was a goner, there's no saving this one. This caused me to lose my composure, carelessly ripping the rest of the tape off, thinking that other decals were doomed. But they survived. Being so rash though, caused damage to the clear coat and some of the areas of paint. This is a lesson. Even when things go wrong, take a breather and continue to be careful with the rest of the model, but that is easier said than done, of course. So with the whole thing unwrapped, it was time to repair the damage. I touched up the yellow where the red had bled through the tape. I touched up some of the areas of green and grey. Then I went over the whole thing with a satin coat of varnish again. It's a shame about the damage to the underside decals, but this could have been a whole lot worse. Now for the fun part, removing the masking from the canopy. If you have found this series helpful, or even mildly entertaining, can I please ask you to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Unfortunately, the paint started rubbing off on my fingers. This was not a great day at the bench, but fortunately it still looked alright. As I did on the starter kit, I painted the exhaust stacks and the tyres on the wheels in the black. Followed by the landing gear struts in flat aluminium. The propeller is next, and the nose required painting in sky grey. I'm not normally a massive fan of hand painting using Tamiya acrylics, but diluting them with thinners certainly makes them easier to work with. If you don't do this, I find they dry too quickly, which in turn gives visible brush strokes. I paint the nose in the sky grey, then a dash of yellow on the tips of the blades. And here we are, at the point of final construction, beginning with the starter kit Spitfire. I glue the landing gear together, then the prop in place. Because of the split in the prop, I need to touch up the back of it in the sky grey. This would have been a lot easier, painting it before gluing the prop in place, as you see here on the other plane. The landing gear is attached, and that's Spitfire 1 complete. These processes are repeated on the Pro Tools Spitfire, then it's on to the final additional touches. I tried adding a rust enamel to the exhausts. It didn't really show up all that much. I should have painted the exhaust in a dark grey rather than a black. In general, the lighter the colour, the more the rust shows up. Then I start adding a panel line wash, and again this wasn't really showing up, so I just focused on the larger panel lines just to add that little bit of depth. And the final addition we're going to do is adding some rigging. This elasticated rigging is really easy to use. You simply glue one end to the model using superglue, wait for it to fully cure, then stretch the elastic and glue the rear part to the model. Once this part cures, you can then just trim off the excess, and voila. And that is it, both planes complete. So, is all the gear actually worth it? Well, for a starter kit Spitfire, I would say yes and no. The equipment that made the most difference would have to be the snips and glue for ease of building, and certainly the paint. Just by using some decent paints and varnish can really make a big difference. Is the starter kit Spitfire good for beginners? Again, I have mixed views. For your first ever kit, yes, 100%. Just bear in mind if the paintwork isn't how you'd have hoped, it's probably the paint, not you. If, however, you're a model or two into the hobby and are enjoying it, I would recommend grabbing the kit and paint separately. Yes, it's a slightly larger outlay buying the paints, glue, decal solution, snips, etc., but it all lasts a very long time and will give you better results. But then saying that, this kit is aimed at true beginners, so it does exactly what it says on the tin. I'm rambling now, but yes, in short, I do think all the gear helps and can give you better results, but I do also think these kits are good for true beginners. I hope you found this series helpful. If you have, please hit those like and subscribe buttons. Each hit makes a big difference. For those interested in commissions or a Gallery airbrush, check out the links in the description. Up next, we have a full Super Cup video of this series coming out. Then it's on to a big one, Achilles 44. So stay tuned for that. But for now, farewell and happy modelling, everybody.